The Best in the World podcast with Richard Parr.
Would you believe it? Best in the World with Richard Parr has reached episode 40. We're so delighted you can join us for episode 40 of The Best in the World with Richard Parr, and our guest today is fantastic. It is the three-time Olympic gold medalist Veronica Campbell-Brown. The Jamaican sprinter won the 200 meters gold at both the 2004 and 2008 Olympics. Also won the relay in 2004. Won many titles, world titles, junior titles. An absolute amazing competitor, and she tells her story on this week's Best in the World. She talks about how nobody was very nice to her at the 2000 Olympics, where her 4x100 meters team won silver at the Olympics in Sydney. She talks about her faith in Christianity and being a Christian. She talks about the power of positivity. And she also talks about her disappointments in 2016 and the Rio Olympics. That and much, much more to come on this week's Best in the World with Richard Parr, with the Jamaican sprinting champion Veronica Campbell-Brown. Certainly one of the biggest stars we've had on Best in the World with Richard Parr, and we've had some fantastic guests on the program. Just before we get to my interview with Veronica, I would love for you to do me a favor and go to the Facebook page for Sportacino. Sportacino is my brand new sports breakfast show. We're live at 8 GMT every single weekday morning, digesting sports at breakfast. We have a different guest being interviewed on the show every single weekday morning, all related to sports, health, and nutrition. We also digest the biggest stories in sport. Maybe it's football, maybe it's tennis, maybe it's cricket, maybe it's NFL. Who knows? We discuss it on the show. We would love for you to be involved. Send us a comment on every weekday morning's program. But crucially, please like the Facebook page. Please like facebook.com/Sportacino. Also, if you'd like to support this show, it's very easy. Why don't you get yourself a free audiobook from Audible? Audible is one of the leading suppliers of audiobooks in the world. Guess what? They've got over 180,000 titles for you to choose from for your iPhone, Android, MP3, or your Kindle player. Check that all out at audibletrial.com/best. That's audibletrial.com/best. You can get a free 30-day trial with Audible. That includes one free audiobook download. It's a service I personally use. Please check it out, audibletrial.com/best. All right, let's get to my interview with the legendary Veronica Campbell-Brown.
The Best in the World podcast with Richard Parr.
Veronica Campbell-Brown, welcome to The Best in the World. Three-time Olympic champion in sprinting. Obviously, we've now had the Olympics back in August. What have you been up to since then, Veronica?
Since the Olympics in Rio, I took a short break and I'm now back in training. I'm preparing for the 2017 season, the World Championship, which will be in London next summer.
Oh, we can't wait to see you there. Have you set targets and goals already for next year?
I have my short-term goals right now are to just rest well, train hard, stay positive. The fall training is normally the most challenging, so I have to program my mind to get through each workout and to endure this part of training before I can get to the fun part. And then I'm also looking forward to getting better technically. And for long-term goals, I would like to have some better times in 2017. I could have done better in 16, and so I want to do much better in 17. So those are some of the things I'm just looking at where track and field is concerned.
There's a couple of things I want to pick up on that, and you mentioned about mentally. Do you have any particular processes you have for your mindset, or any routines or meditation or any visualization techniques that you use?
I try to approach each training session positively, and I'm from a Christian background. I am a Christian, so I read a lot of Christian materials. I read my Bible. I just try to connect with things and people who are positive, stay positive, try to ignore the things around me that will not give me the energy and the strength. So I try to maintain good energy and just be positive. And I think that has helped over the years to work towards my goals.
The power of positivity. I'm in that same mindset as you there, Veronica. So with that in mind, obviously some people aren't as positive as you and I, for example, and some people are quite negative. And in a weird way, I don't know if you ever noticed, but they almost come across with this like negative aura. Is it difficult to kind of be around those type of people?
It is not good at all, because the way the world is and the way things are, it almost seems like it's hard to progress if you stay negative, because a lot of times things may not go the way you want it, or things may not look like they are going the way you want it. And in order to really get over that hump, you have to stay positive. You have to keep hope. You have to believe. You have to believe you can do anything. You can achieve anything. So negativity is never good. It's burdensome. It will weigh you down. It will make you unproductive. So I think it's much better for us to just stay positive no matter what is going on around us.
You mentioned reading there. Obviously, the Bible is your go-to book. But what other books are you reading when you look at those things?
Currently, I'm reading two books right now. I'm reading Commanding Your Morning by Sidney Chim. I'm reading Destiny by T.D. Jakes, and I have so many other books to read. But when I read this positive material, I try to get at least one thing from it that I can apply, and that I can apply that day or that week, and just to rest on that and remember that while I'm going through my day.
So what are you applying today?
Well, today, the main thing I'm focusing on, the Bible verse I read this morning, it is saying that look to the Lord and His strength. So no matter what is going on around me, I'm thinking that God is in control. And as long as I believe and know that God is in control, I can get through whatever I see that is happening around me, and fear will not creep in, because I know that God is in control of all people.
Okay, very, very interesting. Let's just go back to a few more of the things of what you've got planned coming up. And you mentioned about improving your technique. Now, you're a three-time Olympic champion. You're a former world champion. You're so successful in your career. Like, when you say you need to improve your technique, there must be people out there going, oh my goodness, what happens if Veronica improves her technique even more? What type of things are you looking to improve? What are those little things which will make you even better?
There's a lot of things. Over the years, I've gotten better technically. I remember when I started running way back in the 90s, I run with I was leaning too forward. And over the years, my coaches have strengthened that, and I'm much better. I'm running much taller. But I realized that even now, sometimes towards the end of my races, I basically lose my hips, and then I'm not in that power posture anymore. So I'm still working and improving that, and I'm still working on getting better out of the blocks. I'm still working and running my races more strategically. So there's a lot of things, and it's ongoing, but it is also good, because when I can look back at a race and realize that I have things that I can improve on, that gives me hope for the future.
And have you always embraced these changes? So, for example, when you do make these technical changes, I can imagine that sometimes there's a frustration because you've done it a certain way for a certain time, and then you have to change something, and your coach is trying to change it. Do you ever get frustrated when you have to make those adjustments?
It is very challenging, because when you are doing something for a long time one way, then when you try to change it, sometimes the body is not as cooperative, and you may do it well today, and tomorrow you revert to your old ways, and it's a constant battle. And I am a perfectionist, and so sometimes when I realize that I keep messing up and I'm not doing it the way I want it, and I'm a little bit, I'm not sure if frustrating is the right word, but I'm a little bit disappointed and I want to get it right. And because I want to get it right, I continue to work with it and I continue to push myself. And I just hope that when I get to the race, I can do the same thing and even do it better. But then the challenge is sometimes I do things better in training than in the race because the adrenaline is flowing and you sometimes just explode and forget to do something right. So it's a challenge, and it's something that I'm working on. And I'm sure a lot of my colleagues can agree with me in that how difficult it is to continue to eat the right techniques every time in training and in competitions.
It's all about the work. It's all about the training. Let's just go to the beginning of your life and your early career. And, you know, obviously you wouldn't have had that technical knowledge like you do now. Were you always just really quick? And I saw that you grew up with, there were 9 siblings, I believe. Were you all fast?
Yes, I grew up. I have 9 siblings. We didn't all live in the same home, but we were in touch and connected. I have 2 older brothers who were extremely fast. They did very well in high school, but they didn't go any further. I also have a sister who used to run in high school, and then she quit in high school. I have a brother who is currently running. He's in college. He runs the 400 meter, and he's doing pretty well. And I really think that he will have a very good future.
Well, his sister's a pretty good coach if he ever needs a little bit of advice, I'm sure. Does he turn to you very often?
I encourage him on occasion, but he's very level-headed. He's very focused. He's studying hard and he's training hard, and so I'm happy about that. And he reached out to me when he need, but I try to keep him positive and I encourage him train hard, study hard, make sure you keep that balance. You have to do good in both. You cannot just focus on sports and not your education. They're equally important, and so I think he's doing a pretty good job at that, and so I'm proud of him.
Now, as you were growing up, you had success at Jamaica's yearly Boys and Girls Championship. How important is that event in Jamaica for people who don't really know about it? And how much do you think the success there helped as a stepping stone for your later success in career?
The Boys and Girls Championship in Jamaica, it is huge. It is the breeding ground for so many great athletes, and the way we are raised, and most of us, we look forward to that championship each year and the competitions leading up to it and the excitement. And it's very competitive. And so you know that if you do not work hard, if you do not push yourself, you will not make it to champs, as we call it. And I think it is a very good program. It has helped to develop a lot of great athletes over the years, and all of the Jamaican athletes that you see on the world stage has been through that system, and so it is great. It is exciting, and I think it very important.
And then you won world titles at youth level, at junior level. With so much success at such a young early age, was it ever easy just to become a bit overconfident?
No, never. It was always fun for me, and I believe that I was born to sprint, and so I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. I enjoy traveling to all the different places and race both locally and overseas, and so it was always fun. And I never get too much ahead of myself because from day one I realized that it is not my strength that allow me to do well. It is the gift that God has given me, and so that keep me humble to know where my strength comes from.
Okay, so you've travelled all around the world. Where are some of your favourite places you've been to? Or does it very often feel like hotel room track, hotel room airport?
Exactly. It's I rarely get time to do any type of sightseeing, and I've been to so many beautiful places. I enjoy competing in Beijing. I enjoy traveling to Greece and competing in different parts of the country, like Athens, and so many great places. I enjoy competing in New York. I enjoy competing in London, and just so many great places to name. I cannot think of one place that I did not enjoy competing because it's always so fun, and the culture is different. The people are different, and so you get a different type of energy and different feeling at each place.
And so when you have some free time, do you actually ever go away anywhere, or do you just stay at home because you're like, oh, I've actually got some time to relax and be at home?
When I'm at home, I do take vacation, maybe at least one per year, but and then I may have travel, small business travels here and there. But for the most part, I like to relax at home and just train and just chill and just just relax.
So you mentioned Athens, you mentioned Beijing, where you had great success at both of those. We'll talk a bit more about them in just a moment. But your first Olympics was in 2000 in Sydney. How was that experience for you? Did it match everything you had potentially dreamed about?
I loved competing in Sydney. It was a great experience. I was very young on the team, and although everyone was not nice to me, I still had fun, and I was very pleased to be able to help Jamaica get a medal there. And so it was great. And Australia is such a beautiful country. I've been to Brisbane that same year when I went for the Olympics. We spent time in Brisbane before we actually went over to Sydney, and it was just awesome. I had a blast, and as I said, it was just fun.
Sorry, Veronica, did I mishear you, or did you say not everyone was nice to you there?
I know you would come back to that. I was young, and as you can imagine, being so young and to compete with the seniors, not everyone was happy that such a young girl was running with them on a relay. I don't know if it was a trust issue, but that did not bother me at all because I had a job to perform, and that was my main focus. And I went there, and my objective was to make sure I deliver the baton and collect the baton, and I did that, and I was pleased with my run, and I'm happy that we medal, and I did not come home empty-handed.
Do you just think they were threatened by your ability?
I have no idea, but as I said, I was having fun, and I've learned not to really pay much attention to the trotters and what is going on around me. And so those things, when they come, they're not a distraction. I stay focused. I stay grounded.
Well, 4 years later in Athens, the 4x100 meters team won Jamaica's first gold in that event, and you were part of that team. What was different between, say, that team and the one in Sydney then?
That team, we were closer because we were closer in age, and it was great. The camaraderie, the unity, the excitement. It was just so fun, and it was great competing with those ladies. We really had a ball. We were confident. We were positive going into the race, and we went out, and everybody run as best as they could, and we were rewarded with the gold medal.
Do you think then, going back to 2000, then had the camaraderie been better, the team had the technical ability and quality to actually win gold in 2000?
You never know. We have made some mistakes in that race in 2000, and I don't know, that may have cost us the gold, but I don't want to take anything away from the Bahamas because they performed extremely well, and they are very nice ladies. I know them well. I'm still in touch with some of them. And so it was great. But I feel that our baton exchange was not smooth throughout all of the exchanges. And I think that might have cost us the gold medal. But as I said, Bahamas did very well, and they deserved the medal because they executed well and they had clean baton exchanges.
The Best in the World podcast with Richard Parr.
We've got more from Veronica in just a moment on The Best in the World with Richard Parr. Just a quick reminder that today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is one of the leading suppliers of audiobooks in the world. If you've forgotten from earlier, they've got over 180,000 titles to choose from of all different types of genre of book. I personally listen to sports books. I would highly recommend you do the same. You can listen to Sports Gene by David Epstein. I've listened to that book, along with many others on all different genres. Check it out. 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. I'd love for you to get your 30-day trial and free download. Check it out, audibletrial.com/best, audibletrial.com/best. All right, let's return to the 3-time Olympic champion, Veronica Campbell-Brown.
The Best in the World podcast with Richard Parr.
Let's talk more now about your individual success, and it was 2004 that you won the 200 meters gold medal. Just explain to me your feelings on the day of the final there, and how you felt, and kind of the process that you went through that day. Did you change anything, or was it the same as every single other race?
It was the same. Just highly focused. Just meditating on the race. I ran the race many times in my head before I even get to the track, and just stay positive and rely on my training and my execution. And crossing the finishing line first was such a dream come true, because since I was a little girl, I've always dreamt of becoming an Olympic individual gold medalist. And after getting bronze in the 100 meter and come back and get a gold in the 200 meter, it was just overwhelming. I was just so grateful, and just a blessing.
Just tell us what would be your typical routine then on a race day. Like what type of food are you eating, and kind of how many hours rest would you get before a race, and those kind of, although that build up before a big event, please.
So race day is just eating, sleeping, reading, listening music, and just meditating. I normally try to stick with what I eat on a regular basis: oatmeal, fruits, eggs, just that type of stuff, or toast, eggs, oatmeal, fruits, eggs. Yeah. So my breakfast is quite simple most of the time, and I try to get the same thing when I travel. So I would have my breakfast, and then I would go back to bed or read or pray. Then I do lunch. I try to take a nap before the track and meditating. So it's a combination of eating, sleeping, meditating, reading, relaxing before a race.
Are you good at napping? Can you nap anywhere?
Not anywhere, but it's normally easy to nap when I have a bed. If I'm extremely tired, then not a problem to sleep on a plane, but I've never really napped in an airport, just sitting there and nap. I try to nap when I have some peace and can just relax.
Trying to get that energy. You mentioned music. What's normally on your playlist before a big race?
My playlist is just full of gospel. I like various gospel artists, and I just mainly listen gospel music.
Okay, who's the one gospel artist that you would like to listen to the most?
Oh, I have so many people. I just fluctuate. I listen to Juanita Bynum, Jason Nelson. So many. I have so many. Tasha Cobb. I just like all different variety of music, gospel music.
And so, what is it like when you're standing on a podium with a gold medal, with the national anthem playing? I believe you had a few tears in the 2000 games when you won gold. Like, what goes through your mind at that moment?
Just pride. To see where I came from. My country is not one of the biggest in the world, but it has produced so many great athletes, and to be one of those great athletes, it is quite a joy. And I know that the Jamaican people, they do enjoy watching me run. They really support me. And so in 2004, when I was on the podium and I realized that my childhood dream had come true, and then I realized the joy that I bring to all those people, and then listen to the national anthem play, and the word of the national anthem is so inspirational. It's all about God, and it was just so overwhelming, and it brought tears of joy to my eyes.
And you mentioned about the pride of being there, of representing your country, and of course you had an amazing honour in 2008 when you were carrying the flag at the opening ceremony. Tell us about that day. How did that all go for you? And what I'd also like to know is I was speaking to Phil Dalhouser, the Olympic volleyball champion, a few days ago, and he was saying the opening ceremony is absolutely amazing, but the only problem with it is you're on your feet all day and you get a bit exhausted. And then he had to compete the next day, and they actually lost, and they went on to win a gold medal. But he says it's an amazing day, but it's actually quite an exhausting day. How was it for you in 2008?
It is correct. It is actually it's exhausting, but it's awesome because when I was carrying the flag, we have to march in, and I missed all of the opening ceremony. I did not really get to see anything live because we have to stay in the back and march in according to the order for our countries. But it is so exciting to carry the flag, and it is so much joy, so much pride. I'm just humbled by the experience.
And then you were going into those games as the 200 meters gold Olympic champion, defending your title. Was there any extra pressure on you going into those games?
Not really pressure, but I was hoping that I would be able to defend my title. And I'm so glad I did, because it is such a great feeling to come back 4 years later and do it again. So it is a great achievement, and I'm extremely happy for the result. And I am still chasing that time that I ran in 2008, still chasing that time. So it was a great run. And when I got to the finishing line, I felt like I ran so hard. I was extremely exhausted. I had nothing left in me at that time.
Yeah, you got your personal best in the 200 meters in Beijing. You got your personal best in the 100 meters when you won gold in the 2011 World Championships. I believe that was in Daegu. Is there anything about these big events, these big moments, which allows you to get your personal bests? Because, you know, some people get personal bests or they break world records, not necessarily at World Championships or at Olympic Games. What is it about these big events that kind of push you a little bit further?
I think for my 200 meter PR was in Olympics in Beijing. The 100 meter was at a local meet in Ostrava.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes. But for the Olympics, for me, it was the rounds. I feel like I get better each round, and that has really helped me to run fast. And then it was later in the year, so I was extremely fit and at peak performance. So that was very helpful. And then in Ostrava, I had 2 runs. I ran a heat and a final of the 100 meter, and that also helped me. And the track is very fast, and the crowd was great. So it's a combination of preparation, energy from the crowd, and the rounds, all that come into play. Because sometimes when you run once, if you take a break and run twice, as long as you have good stamina, good background training, and your speed is in a right place, it's easier to do it, and to do it after more than one try, to PR after more than one try. That's for me. I'm not sure if that's the case for everybody.
You've had so many great victories and great races and everything like that. And is there one which is your favourite?
I would have to say Beijing 2008. That was a extremely good run for me. Execution, I felt that the execution was perfect. I think I did everything right. I reacted well, I started well, I pushed well, and it was such a great race. And as I said earlier, I'm still chasing that time. So I have to say that was one of my most exciting races.
And you said earlier that you weren't too happy with the 2016 games this year. I know in in the 200 meters. You went out in the heats, I believe. Where do you think it just didn't go right this year? Obviously, you did have success in the relay, but when someone like you's hit such great standards, were you disappointed with what you came away with in Rio?
I totally underperformed in Rio. My season was going so well. I was on course to do extremely well in the 200 meter, but I've hit some roadblocks. I had a few issues, and those had played a role in the way I performed in the 200 meter in Rio. But I'm moving on from it. It no need to look back at it, and I can't undo it. But what I can do is prepare myself to do better the next time, and that's what we're working on at this moment.
And will the next time be the 2020 Olympics?
I'm not sure. I'm taking it one season at a time. So after 2017 is concluded, then I will decide if I want to do 18, and then I'll do it like that. So my coach and I will decide as we go and see how much more years I want to stay in the sport.
Well, Veronica, I know we've nearly run out of time with you, but I just wanted to ask you one more thing about being a UNESCO goodwill ambassador. You've been that since 2009. How has that experience been for you?
It has been great. It is a great role that I have, and to try and bring more attention to gender equality in the sport, which I think we're making progress, but we still have room to improve. And I'm just happy to be in a position to reach out to young women and just to encourage and try to uplift them and try to motivate them. It's something that I don't take lightly, and I enjoy doing it. It's a great honor.
Well, we enjoy being inspired by you every single day, Veronica. Thank you so much for appearing on the show. Just before you go, could you tell us how we can continue to learn from you on Twitter and social media, please?
V. Campbell-Brown is my Twitter name. And I think it's the same thing for Instagram. But if you search by my name, Veronica Campbell-Brown, and either one, then you will be able to find me. And I also have a Facebook page.
Oh, great. Well, I'll make sure we have the right links on the description page of this podcast. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Veronica Campbell-Brown, thank you for being the best in the world.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
The Best in the World podcast with Richard Parr.
Thanks again to Veronica for being on this week's Best in the World. Of course, Veronica isn't the only track athlete we've had on the program. Go back and listen to my conversation with the relay Olympic champion Darren Campbell. Go back and listen to the decathlon champion Brian Clay. He's been on the show. We've got so many great conversations with world and Olympic champions on our previous podcasts. You can check them all out on iTunes. They're all on Stitcher, and they're all on richardparr.net. If you like the show, do me a favour, please, and go to iTunes and give us a rating and review. It's very, very easy to do, and it really helps our show. And even if you don't like track and field, but you want to be inspired by other athletes, we've got people from hockey, we've got people from cricket, we've got people from rowing, we've got people from paddleboarding. We've really learnt from the very best in those fields, and we will continue to do that again next week on the show. If you'd like to contact me, I'm on Twitter at Richard_Parr. Please follow me on Twitter. Like our Facebook page, Best in the World with Richard Parr, and keep up to date with everything at richardparr.net. I can't believe we've reached 40 episodes on the Best in the World. Here's to another 40, and I'll be back with episode 41 next Wednesday on the Best in the World with Richard Parr.
The Best in the World podcast with Richard Parr.